The increase in the use of fuels for vehicles is all around us, as a constant reminder of the contribution to climate change. Aircraft manufacturers are under constant pressure to reduce fuel usage, but the government charged the Renewable Fuels Agency with monitoring its targets for biofuels used on the roads.
Against an annual target of 2.5%, in the first month we're seeing something like 2.14% of what's in everybody's petrol or diesel tank is from biofuels that have come through this process. So that's quite an encouraging start. The majority, something like 86% of that, is actually biodiesel, which again isn't surprising because it's early days and it takes a while to get the bioethanol systems running. In terms of the actual feedstocks, roughly half is in the kind of soy area, and we're seeing relatively smaller amounts of wheat and cooking oils and so forth.
But the agency was also asked by the government to produce the Gallagher Review, looking at the indirect effects of moving too quickly to the use of biofuels, and the conclusion is there should be a slowdown. Deforestation is one of the dramatic adverse effects when private enterprise and governments want to make money from biofuels.
The majority of the world's forests are in less than a dozen countries. How do we as a world engage with those countries to ensure that those forests aren't taken down for commercial or local political interests in order to protect the very ecosystem that we're trying to reduce our impact on by the use of limited amounts of biofuels?
The report urges a strong political emphasis on using marginal land and not prime agricultural land for the production of biofuels, and also predicts millions more people living in poverty within 10 years if rising prices are not controlled.
It's one of those no-brainer statements to say that it would be completely wrong to tear down the rainforest in order to make biofuels. What we absolutely need to do is to make sure that we take into total account what we're doing when we're changing land use. It isn't even simple to say that straightforward replacing a piece of arable land with a piece of biofuel crop is inherently bad, but we have to be honest and candid in our measurement. We do strongly recommend that we use non-food use land because there is quite a lot of set aside or marginal land out there which is suitable, but equally there are large tracts, particularly in Eastern Europe, of former agricultural land that's clearly not being used for food growth and therefore could possibly be used. What we've discovered, of course, is that we've opened Pandora's box in terms of understanding all of our land use and raising questions about, well, what should we do on that bit of land? What would be the best use? And this is causing a lot of people to think in a way they've never done so before.
The report also looks into the use of new technology, but concludes this cannot be relied on to produce the changes in use needed.
It's true there's going to be an awful lot more cars on the road in India and China and Brazil, and for that matter the United States. What we put in those tanks is going to be much more than a simple choice about whether we grow biofuels or food crops. The expectation that we're all going to drive is something we're going to have to wrestle with at a personal as well as a national and a global level.
It is politicians on a global level we all have to look to for future policy on fuel if climate change is to be tackled.